You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Yeah, turn the video on so people know we're here.
We're here. Good morning, everybody. This is Get It Right Texoma. We've got another person here starting from the beginning here, and this guy's name is Steve Garner.
Yep.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Terry.
And I'm Trey.
And, and we have our Mike, of course, in the upper right corner of our, I think we might have been referring to him, and we're on the two view. I just thought of that he's not actually, we need to get him in our dual view.
There you go.
We don't have the third person. But in any case, Mike is our podcast partner in the sky. He keeps an eye on us, laughs at us, does all that good stuff.
Yeah, we usually go live every Saturday or every Friday morning at 7:30.
I'm not doing it on Saturdays.
Right. On Facebook and YouTube with local happenings, interesting topics, and even usually a guest.
Oh, he's our guest host.
He's our guest host. Yeah, Steve's not a guest. He's a regular guest host with us.
There we go.
So, and even if we record the show ahead of time, it'll drop at the same time each week. So that way we have some consistency. And speaking with guests, like we've already said, Steve Garner's with us, guest host this morning.
Yeah, be sure and chime in, though, on the live stream. We actually have a way to interact with you. If you go in and make a comment, I can see it. I'll try to keep an eye on it up there. Actually, there's a way to get an alarm when it like chimes or something, but I have to look right now. But yeah, please do it.
A hand that comes out and smacks you real quick.
That's right. So anyway, we want to hear from you. We like to hear good and bad. Want to hear what your opinions are, all
Mostly
that good
good
stuff. Yeah, tell us any ideas, any guests, whatever that you'd like, and we go out there and try to do it. And but by the way, we have a couple of sponsors. We have this guy here. He's got the logo right there.
Eddie Hill's Fun Taco.
Yeah, at 401 North Scott since 1966, and MacTech Solutions right here, 4020 Ray Road. Just come on and check out anything with regard to Apple. We can help you out with that, both sales and service. And and we do always encourage people to do business with local businesses when you can, if they deserve it. But we like to shout out those and let people know because, and by the way, we have a unique little offering here that we do things at this at Get It Right Texoma that you won't find anywhere. We give a little long format. We get somebody on and we can talk to them, give you plenty of time, at least usually 30 minutes.
Yeah, at least. And sometimes like last week, Corey Edmonds, the CEO of United Regional Healthcare System,
awesome.
This is like 48 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. So
be sure to like and share.
Yep.
This thing that helps get the word out.
Yep.
And like Terry said, nobody's doing anything like we're doing.
Yep.
There are people who have guests on, but nobody has a guest for this extended period of time. There's TV's great, and even the show that Steve's on, that occasionally on as well. Mm-hmm. The Social Space.
Yep.
They do a great job, and they have guests on, and it is longer form than like a TV news interview, but it's still a relatively short because you only have a short period of time. Whereas here, we kind of just let it roll until it runs out. I mean, I try to keep an eye on the time and go, hey guys, we need to wrap her up a little bit here. But there's not we don't have commercial breaks. We don't have hard deadlines and that sort of thing.
Right. So, and with that, let's get right into it. This is Get It Right Texoma.
That's right. And our local restaurant focus, let you take this one.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's Taco Darlin.
All right.
Taco Darlin out on Kell. One of my favorite places in town to, when I've got a friend that comes in from out of town, when we got family members that come in, I really enjoy the space. And now that Tegan has got that restaurant rolling like crazy, I love going to the upstairs portion of Taco Darlin. There's just something about being up in that upper dining area where you can look out over Kell, and you can see the part. If you're close to the edge of the railing, you can see downstairs as people come and go. But it's just a really nice. It's got a like a local neighborhood pub feel. I don't drink other than soft drinks, but it's got that neighborhood feel to it. And I really, really love going.
So when he walks in, everybody goes just like, cheers, Steve.
No. Well, but it's like a cat, though. You can be like oversee like a cat does, likes to get up above.
And you did mention Tegan Gann, who had Gypsy Kit for many years.
Yes.
So if you like that food it's the same person who created the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's been in the restaurant business in Wichita Falls for a long time and does a great job.
Yeah, well, I've been there before, and it's been a little while, and you get back over there. But yeah, oh my gosh, they have such good flavor and all,
and a very diverse style of food.
It's called Taco Darling, but they've got stuff other than tacos. I almost always get tacos, but this last time I went, I said, you know what? I had a good friend of mine tell me the burger was really a good burger, so I tried it out, and guess what? He was right. Just like everything else they've got there, the food was just really, really good.
I'm pulling up, if you can see it here. Y'all should be able to see it right now, but it looks like there's a bingo night.
What?
Yeah, bingo night at Taco Darling's. It's time to yell bingo, drink margaritas, and support an amazing cause. So actually it was last night.
I was going to say, that was last night.
So, well, doggone it. So they do more than, obviously they're big into the community and supporting it, but it looks like they do.
But their food is really good. I mean, and by the way, it's on it's on Kell. It's where the Oyster Bar used to be. If you're familiar with the Oyster Bar, it's kind of at the very end of that strip mall there, and it kind of starts with Stroman Dental on one side, and then it goes to there's two buildings there, and then it ends in Taco Darling on the other side.
Right. Looking for their hours. We usually open now. Open now? What?
They're not open now.
Well, it's 7, 8. Maybe they do
Fridays?
breakfast burritos
Maybe
or breakfast.
They do.
Yeah, every morning actually.
Well,
except
that's
for Monday.
news to me.
Yeah, there you go. They're open. Hey, go visit.
So
they're locally on. Except closed on Mondays.
So it does look like they're breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, well, that's cool. So
except for on Saturday, where it's just
Sunday,
lunch and dinner,
and
Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. So go check them out. They're locally owned.
Sundays. They have a brunch on Sunday.
Okay.
There aren't many places in Wichita Falls where you can go get brunch, and they do have a pretty good brunch there.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, there you go. Check them out.
Darling.
And Taco Darling, and it's local, and it's locally owned, and just go try tacos.
Yeah, go give it a whirl. And by the way, is there anything better in the world than tacos? I mean, I am a taco fiend. I love hamburgers, and that's maybe the top, but tacos are right there with it. So.
All right. Well, there we go. So what do we got coming up next? We're going to talk about the Fantasy of Lights.
That's right. Fantasy of Lights, which is a local, you can't see this anywhere in the world. And we need to do we've done a show before that talked a little bit more about the history, but basically the Burns family in Wichita Falls was an oil family. And I believe they started like in the 20s, way back. And I do remember specifically that their little house on probably 11th Street or 10th Street or something like that. And they had a small tree with one blue bulb, and that's how it started. But over the time, Mrs. Burns loved decorations and Christmas decorations. And they moved into a much larger house over in Country Club that had a large yard.
Right there on Harrison. That's
right. She started filling up the yard with decorations. And these are some really cool decorations. And so when the Mr. and Mrs. Burns passed, the family donated this display to the city of Archer City. And the reason they did that was because a lot of their employees, they were in the oil business.
Yeah.
And at one time, Archer City was not a boom town, but kind of like a little minor boom town for oil business. Well, the city of Archer City said, we don't know what to do with this. We can't handle this. And so an organization was formed, the Fantasy of Lights Foundation or whatever they call themselves, and they made a deal with Midwestern State University. And their Midwestern State University, which is very visible, has a large space there. And they allow the Fantasy of Lights to be displayed there. Now, Midwestern State University, so if you're worrying about who pays the bills, Midwestern State University, all they provide is a space.
Yeah.
They do not provide the electricity.
They get billed.
They provide the space. So everything else is private donations. The upkeep and maintenance of these, and some of these displays go back, decades and decades.
Yeah.
And the upkeep, maintenance, the cost of setting everything up, tearing everything down, the cost of electricity to run it. And it kicks off on Monday, November 24th. So next Monday at 6 p.m. And that's when they'll officially turn it on, and it runs through Christmas.
All right.
And it's a really neat thing. I mean, if it's really cold outside, I guess you could drive by and look at it. It's neat to see, but it's much better to park and walk around. Take your kids, take your grandkids. And while you're there, kick in a couple of bucks. There's people there that are always holding booths. And actually Mike Hendren was a huge supporter and a big part of Fantasy of Lights. He was on the board, the steering committee for a long time, and he and his family spent many, many nights collecting out there with the Santa boot.
Yeah.
And so I thought about this when I was putting this together and realized this was coming on. I had a memory of Mike, and he and I have had many conversations, spent a lot of hours talking about the Fantasy of Lights and his involvement there. So it is really a neat thing. It's something very unique. You can't see many places. I know you can go places and see big Christmas decoration displays. That happens. But I don't know of any that have Christmas decorations that span back decades and decades. Most of the time, they're wireframes. They look great, but they're wireframes with a bunch of lights on them now.
Sure.
Whereas these are stories.
Well, and the other thing about this, when you go out there, you can, hang out and check out all the displays. But then usually they've got the trams that take you through the neighborhoods. Everything. You pay a few bucks, and
there's a carrot. You can do carriage rides out across the street.
Yeah,
there.
get some hot chocolate and who knows what else out there. So go check it out. It's fun. You get all. It's just something you take your honey out and go bundle up in a.
You can take your wife, or you can take your girlfriend.
Well,
Terry.
yeah.
Terry. Terry. I didn't say that. Not me. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go check it out. Now, when does it end? Is it through?
I believe it's through Christmas.
Past Christmas.
It goes probably the weekend after Christmas. I don't know the exact date.
You don't need to know today when it ends. You need to know when it starts.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Starts the 24th.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it as we go on over the week. We're not going to beat it to death every week, but we'll kind of remind people about it. But the 24th, next Monday, is the kickoff date, and it's really it's a fantastic event if you have time to go out there and see the kickoff and the joy and all that. It's great, and it involves a lot of local youth groups that come in and do a lot of the maintenance and that sort of thing. So,
and that's one of the things that I'm glad you said maintenance, because that's one of the ongoing challenges that the foundation has. Those displays require upkeep every year.
And storage.
They have to be stored. But when they're out in the elements, when they're out in Texoma elements for a full month, these are wooden structures, metal structures. They've been painted, and they just have to be taken care of, and that costs money. It costs a lot of money.
Historical thing as well. I mean,
some of those vignettes are 40 years old,
or I think even older. I mean, I think the one with the Scrooge. I believe I heard that somebody said that was from the 60s.
Oh wow!
Which would make it closer to 80 years old.
Yeah.
60 years old, close 60 years old. 60 years old. Steve's a math guy, not me, right?
I am a math guy.
All right. Well, cool. Well, then.
So the Wichita Falls Chamber of Commerce is going to have their annual awards on Thursday, December 4th, at 11:30 a.m. A lunch. It's at 11:30 to 1:30. It's at the Forum on Speedway, and this is just a great time for people to go out and celebrate, I guess, the accomplishments of local businesses. And you talk about our chamber. Our chamber has been absolutely on fire over the last few years and done so much. And of course, Ron Kitchens, who was the chamber CEO, is gone, but there's so much good leadership there, and he cultivated a staff of leaders, and they're continuing to run with the torch here.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'd like to add is the important work that's been done over the last 8 to 10 years between the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Wichita Falls. I've been on the periphery, watching that coordination, and the culmination of those efforts is now being realized by our community. Looking at what has happened with the expansion out at the former PPG plant, which is now Vitro. It's a massive, massive expansion with coming online of the Amazon delivery facility in the next month or so. The jobs created there. The exciting thing that's coming together with the data center and the possibility of additional things just like that. All of that work has been put in place by Henry Florsheim and then Ron Kitchens and now
and
Mariah
their staff
Williams.
and their staff and their
the
staff
the
members.
staff. They've got such an incredibly aggressive and excited staff down
Dynamic. I think dynamic is
there.
a good word.
And the things that have happened in the state of Texas over the last 14 to 16 years are happening here finally. And it's because of all that hard work. And it's just exciting for me as a member of the business community, even though I'm retired, I'm still active in it. But it's exciting for me to see so many things changing the face of our community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And by the way, you can register for this when you're on the website. There's a little register button there. Register now, and then it takes you to Eventbrite. So that's where you're going to go check it out. And,
Go check it out. Chamber of Commerce. Hey, real quickly before we go on to our news, there's a couple things that are local that I found were interesting. I didn't know. Did either one of y'all know that the founder of the soda drink Poppy is from Wichita Falls?
I had heard this recently.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. She was on Shark Tank. I'm a Shark Tank watcher. She was on Shark Tank several years ago and got a deal with somebody, and then Poppy just sold for like $2.1 billion to PepsiCo. And so,
holy mackerel!
yeah, and so when she was on Shark Tank, she said she and her husband were on there, and I think they said from Austin, Texas. That's where they live. But she was a shark on Shark Tank in one of the recent episodes, and they did a little bio, and she said, I grew up in Wichita Falls, Texas. So her name's Allison Ellsworth. And now that's her maiden. I don't know what her maiden name was. That was her name. And apparently I just did a little bit of research. Her dad was in the oil business, and her mother and father got divorced when she was young. And she and her mother and maybe brothers and sisters moved to Wichita Falls, and her mother worked at a local jewelry store is what they said.
Wow.
So, and was a single mom. So Allison Ellsworth, who is, I don't know that she's a billionaire now, but her company just sold for billions of dollars.
Got a few more million than I do.
Exactly. is here. I don't know. She grew up in Wichita Falls. Those were her words. I don't want to say, I hate it when people say Mia Hamm's from Wichita Falls. She's not from Wichita Falls. She lived here for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But, and she doesn't claim Wichita Falls, by the way. She doesn't claim it. It kind of irritates me when people want to make a big deal and say Mia Hamm. It's like, she doesn't claim Wichita Falls. Yes, she did live here, but it was for 2.5, 3 years or something. She's a great soccer player, and I have a lot of respect for her, but she's not from Wichita Falls. But according to Allison, she grew up in Wichita Falls. So those are her words, not mine. And the other thing that was pretty cool is Raymond Hager is a local bus driver who just got put in the Guinness Book of World Records. He's the oldest bus driver.
The oldest active bus driver in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. And the 18th was Raymond Hager Day. So I believe he's 97 years old.
I know he's 90-something.
I believe he's 97 years old. Still drives a bus for the city of Wichita Falls and has been doing it for years. And so congratulations. I think that's awesome to have a local person like that who gets honored. It's really important, I think, to honor these people when they're still alive and they can enjoy it.
Yep. All right. So what do we got next here? We've got the, well, you had a couple, there was something else on there.
Senator Kendi.
No, about the tree of hospice?
No. Mm-mm. That's later on.
Oh, that's later on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. I'm trying to get ahead of the game here.
Look, we got to.
I know.
I sent you a prompter on purpose here, Terry, to keep you in line.
All right. Well, so we have some news then. And that Senator Kennedy, I'm not sure I like this, but he's apparently proposed not to pay. What?
Congress people.
What do you not like about it?
Oh, no. Never mind.
What do you not like about it?
Never mind. I misread it.
This isn't Ted
You want
Kennedy.
me to go out? You want me to go find a whip?
No, this isn't Ted Kennedy that killed somebody. This is John Kennedy from.
No, I misread it. I misread it earlier. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. No, his proposal is to not pay Congress people during government shutdown. I wonder what dumb motorcycle shop guy has been saying that for 10 years on the radio and on the podcast.
He finally listened to you.
Every time we've had a shutdown, I've screamed from the top of my lungs on the radio. And by the way, I've gone on record. I call balls and strikes. When I think the Republicans are the reason for the shutdown, I've said it.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they were either last shutdown or 2 shutdowns ago. I put that blame squarely on the Republicans. I thought they were being unreasonable and trying to hold the Democrats hostage, and I complained about it. And I think I know this time the Democrats were being unreasonable, and they were holding the Republicans and the citizens hostage. But my point was, I said from the beginning, if the people in Congress didn't get a paycheck and none of their staff got a paycheck, it would really slow down the possibility of these shutdowns, because there's plenty of people in Congress that could go a month or two without getting paid, but I guarantee they have staff members who can't. And it's really hard. It's easy to online say something about somebody or disparaging or tell somebody on the phone, hey, you're an ass or whatever it is. It's really hard to look somebody in the eye and say, I know you and I care about you, but I'm going to put my politics in front of your well-being.
Yeah.
That's very hard to do.
Well, this is, to me, it's just a decision that is definitely we had all these employees. By the way, did we pay our employees? Are they getting back pay? Are the civilian employees?
I believe they are.
Because there was a time when I think even Trump said,
well, I think that was Trump running his mouth trying to put pressure on the Democrats. I honestly believe that.
Yeah, okay.
I think the law says if there is a government shutdown and you continue working, that you get back pay. I'm pretty sure that's
they did offer, or they're giving $10,000 bonuses for those air traffic controllers that hung around and worked the entire time. So, but oh well. Well, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think once I took the Congress, I thought it was talking about no back pay for the civilian employees, but no, absolutely.
It's called the shutdown. It's No Shutdown Paychecks to Politicians Act, and that means members of Congress do not get paid and get no back pay. That's the other side of it as well. And I don't know that it's going to pass. He's been pushing it. He's the first person I've seen that has pushed this. And hallelujah.
Yeah, too little, too late, though. In this case.
It's not.
We can't say that.
Well, no. But I mean, for this time. But yes, they always need it for the next time.
What my point is, if this passes, it may solve some of this problem. People are going to have to think twice about doing it.
Sure.
Yep.
So anyway.
All right. Well, then what's the next thing we got? This is the one. Yes, hospice. Yeah, I'm ready. I have it ready up on the. All right,
this is another. This is actually another organization that Mike was very.
And it was on the radio. They had a live on the air.
In fact, Mike was actually awarded a plaque, or hospice dedicated a plaque to Mike's honor recently for his service with hospice.
Yeah,
and there was a little ceremony and all that. It's a really neat little plaque there. So there's once again our old podcast and radio partner. This was another one of the causes that he was very involved in.
Light says what the purpose is to raise money, continue because they are a nonprofit at the Hospice of Wichita Falls.
Money to run it.
Yeah, and they've got an amazing facility out there. They keep expanding and everything, which is on one hand is unfortunate, but it's a reality, and to help ease that transition of life, basically, and so they're there to help families, not just and by the way, they have services even if you don't take advantage of or your loved one does not use their services for hospice, or if you use somebody else, they will help with some of the counseling, some of the other services and everything.
They have a lot.
I know they got a lot of.
One of the things that I actually was with Elise Eccles this week, and one of the things I found out that was new to me was how large their palliative care portion of hospice is. They now service 280 patients.
They have 12 counties.
Yeah,
I believe they serve 12 counties.
And the physical facility that they have over on Johnson Road, they went from 12 beds to their new expansion where they have 24 beds. And you think about, doubling the size of what they had to do before, and then they've grown this palliative care part of their ministry, and so many people are now being positively affected in that transition. And as we know, we're in an aging part of I'm in that part of my life, but that's a part of our community that is so in need of loving care, and hospice does such a great job of that.
And palliative care, if my understanding is, palliative care is not necessarily end-of-life care, but it's high needs care where, somebody who may not be right at the end of their life, but they need a lot of help, and the family needs a lot of help.
That's one of the things that you hit it right on there. The stress that's on the family members providing for these people who have that need, it takes away from their ability to deal with their daily livelihoods, because they have to give that extra time and care to someone that needs it when that person has got responsibilities on their shoulders for family and whatever it might be. But they give such an incredible relief to those people in that situation.
Well, and it's but they also keeping in mind that hospice is not necessarily in their facility. It because my father-in-law,
outpatient as
right?
well,
They came
home health.
This hospice Wichita Falls took care of my father-in-law and in our house. So it was a big relief.
Well, I know it touches, honestly, hospice touches almost anybody at some point to some degree. Mike and I actually, my father and his mother were in hospice care at the end of their lives, almost real close to each other. I mean, not at the same time, but within a few months of each other. And so, it was a huge resource to our family. My mother is a retired nurse, so she understands. She understands the medical. She's seen deaths. She's seen all that. But it's a lot different when it's your husband of 49 years.
Yeah.
And so that resource, the hospice, and that comfort, the comforting place for people who care to not only care about that patient and make sure that patient is comfortable at the end of their life, but also care about the family. And that's one thing you're going to find at hospice. They are unbelievable. The people out there are unbelievable at that.
I just look at what that person that chooses to serve in that capacity. They're going to be with your mom, my mom, for 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months. And then it's going to be someone else. They've created a relationship with your mom or my mom. And then that person's gone. And then the next person, they start all over. And I can't imagine I just can't imagine being able to do that every day. So their gift to our community is just priceless.
You're absolutely right. Well, their goal is $340,000. It has been $300,000, and it's gone to $340,000 because their palliative care is one of the biggest things. And they did light the tree. You can watch it live on KFDX. If you want to go back, you can watch the recording of it. But Daryl Franklin was out there. It was a pretty familiar name. But they lit the tree, and I think then it goes off, and then when they reach their goal, they light the tree again. I believe that's how it works.
The tree's the stars.
The star.
The
That's right.
Lit.
The tree is lit, but
you
the
see
star
the tree every day or every night, and then once they get their goal met, then they'll light the star.
It's on top of the bank right there off of Kent Street.
Always met the goal, if I understand.
Chase, yes.
Yeah, and the radio day is December 12th.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't.
That's right.
Donate.
Be sure to donate.
All right.
$10 lights a light. Okay. You can give more, but $10 lights a light.
There you go.
All right. Well, move on to the next story. This one is an interesting.
Once again, something I've been complaining about for at least a decade. I'm telling you, I have.
They're all You're finally
check the record. You
feel vindicated.
You could go to our archives, and I guarantee you, there's somewhere in our archives here that I talk about. There's no reason for us to keep minting the penny, and I know I said it a dozen times on the radio.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, they announced. I guess it was actually through executive order, right? Didn't he?
I don't know if it's legislative or not.
No, I think it was an executive order that Trump said, "Hey, let's do it," and so they just printed on the. Let's see, what was the last? I've got a link up here, but they did print the last or minted. Is that right? Struck the last one. Here we go. So, United States Mint hosts historic ceremonial strike for the final production of circulating the 1 cent coin.
Well, it costs 4 cents to make.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not as much of a math guy as Steve, but even my dumb ass knows that if it costs you 4 cents and it's only worth 1 cent, you can't stay in business very long doing
Wait a minute. It's only 3.69 cents. Come on.
Yeah.
You know.
That,
But
as a math guy, we round the cost up.
I know. That's it.
Yeah. If it's above 0.5, it goes up.
Accuracy, whatever. But yeah, so basically the penny, first authorized by Coinage Act of 1792, has long played a role in daily American life. And I mean, think about all the different ones as you're a kid. You know, you have the wheat pennies that, oh my God, those are old. Then you had the Indian head, and then you had all the different kind. Wasn't it Indian head?
I believe.
And they had ones with wreaths, and
They've
coin collector.
Who knows what the first one had on it?
well, yeah,
It is like in coin collecting, like numismatologist or something. It's kind of a strange term. It doesn't say coin anywhere. But for instance, it's been around for 230 years, and it's kind of become basically worthless.
Right.
But when it was introduced in 1793, a penny could buy a biscuit, a candle, or a piece of candy.
You can't even get a biscuit for $1 anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there was nickel candy when I was a kid.
There was nickel
Yeah,
candy.
nickel candy, but not penny
Even that
candy.
long ago, there was
Right.
nickel candy.
Yeah, whatever.
And
so,
so it's going to save the taxpayer $56 billion.
right.
And do not start this crap of it's just a drop in the bucket.
That's
Guess
right.
what? It's a drop in the bucket, but you do a drop, a drop, a drop. At some point, this bottle of water was just one drop of bottle of water. And they put a whole bunch of other drops of bottle of water, and it made a bottle of water.
That's right.
It makes a difference.
So, as far as the number, there were 300 billion pennies, is what they're estimating or as of now, 300 billion pennies in circulation. Now, now everybody's hoarding them up. And now they're
Good.
right.
Yeah.
They're gonna now. How is that going to work though in a retail? I guess you'll round up or down. How does that work when you give change? I mean, you still take cash,
I've always said it needs to round.
right?
Okay, let me,
Round to 5
let me
cents.
just answer that from my perspective. I still no change by the penny. Most people digitally transact.
Mhm.
They don't have pennies. They don't know what pennies are. You think about where we are. Listen,
yeah.
let me finish. You think about where we are today in America. I've got a grandchild in college. Who kind of understands because he's pretty smart like that. But everything he does is digital.
Right.
He has a credit card, a debit card.
Apple Cash probably, or
Exactly. But he doesn't keep change in his pocket. He doesn't keep change in his car. He doesn't have change in a piggy bank in his house. You know, they don't need pennies. They don't.
I don't have any pennies now because my wife keeps stealing them. She's collecting them.
Well, I'm still a cash person, and I do not want to go cashless society. But it's so easy to round up 5 cents because it's really not worth. It's just not worth not rounding it.
Yeah.
So I'm all in favor of this. By the way, to say how can we dare discontinue a coin? It's happened before. In 1857, we had the half penny, or as they said in England, the a penny.
Yeah.
And it's a half a penny, and they discontinued that.
Yeah, how did that work?
Well, I don't hear anybody.
ne-
I don't hear anybody complaining.
No.
I never missed it.
No.
Right. No, I got you.
Actually, it turned into a collector. It probably turned into a collectible. It spurred on a whole collection thing. Look, there's a lot of positive to this.
Oh,
but
sure.
But I can think of 56 billions of pennies. Okay, hang on. Okay. I can think of $56 million reasons why this is a good idea.
Okay.
It's not 56 billion, it's 56 million, which is still not a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Okay. Save us that much money. All right. Well, that's still 56 million. Well, maybe 50. Well, I don't even have a million. But anyway, it's more than the money than I have. All right. Well, what's the next thing we have going on? Oh, okay.
This is Terry's story here.
All right. Some of you may know and have seen videos from this guy locally.
By the way, this is not just a local thing.
No. This is a national thing, possibly international thing, although it's not a First Amendment auditor anywhere else. But
I was going to say internationally,
so
there's places you go to jail for this.
So this is a thing that people do. It's First Amendment auditing. Now, you may even seen people do Second Amendment auditing by going downtown or into a town and put a rifle on their shoulder or whatever. But this is specifically First Amendment, and they're recording. So you go Google First Amendment auditor, and you'll find on YouTube tons of videos of people doing this kind of thing. And there's one particular guy I like up in New York. He's the Long Island auditor. His name's Sean, but he's actually a nice guy.
He says it's probably Long Island.
Yeah.
They don't say Long Island. They say Long Island.
Well, he doesn't, but anyway. So this guy locally, we have a local version of this, but he's only now, I think he's 17 now. When he first started earlier this year, he was 16, and he got arrested in the post office. And we've talked about it, whether we should talk about his name or not. And I don't want to give this kid a platform, but yet at the same time, it's a reality of what we're seeing now. So here's what's happened. So he got, I'll think about giving his name here in a minute, but here's the deal.
It's your call.
He got arrested in the post office in earlier this year. I think it was in April. And there was the police officers were called, and this one guy came out. It was Officer Wilson, arrested the kid pretty quickly after he went through and he was wandering around the post office videoing. And there were several people that encountered him. There was one of the, I don't know if she's FBI or what, but she was a federal agent was in the post office.
A postal inspector.
Right. Well, I don't think
they're federal agents.
Wasn't real clear, but the FBI office is there. It's a federal building as well as the post office and federal court. I mean, there's a lot of things going on.
There's actually a jail there.
Oh, is there a jail?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not temporary. I mean, they're not going to hold for.
Not going to be overnight.
Calcutta.
It's just to hold you
Yeah.
between.
It's a holding facility.
Right.
Yeah, that's
when they've got
trial. Federal
Yeah.
trial, yeah.
But it has a lock on the door, and you can't leave.
Yeah.
I call that a jail.
All right, so this kid is doing this thing. They basically accuse him of trying to video the private information of, because that's where you fill out for your passport and other information. And so that was the guise under which they called the police. And then this officer was very quick to arrest him, and boom, So the video's out there. Go watch it and make your own determination. But he's also, since then, he's now been empowered, okay, because he's got a YouTube channel. And he had, I think, about 300 or something, maybe 600, I don't know, a few hundred at that time, followers. He's got over 7,000 now, which is, in the big picture for Wichita Falls, that's a big deal. But he's gaining national attention and other things. But here, I think I'm not here to talk so much about him, although it's his tactics maybe and some of these other auditors out there.
But you're more talking about the right of people to do this, there's a right way to do things and a wrong way.
Well,
to do things.
But there's also I have two different minds on this. The first mind is, you know what? Government doesn't have an outside auditing feature built in anywhere. It's all internal. Yes, it all report. If you look at any government agency, the Air Force, the military, the FBI, all of these guys have at the very top, who reports to the very top of the FBI or the whatever that organization is, there's an offshoot office. It's their IG, Inspector General, generally. So
or internal auditor in more local.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then So, but they always report to the top, and whatever that level is. That way, the rest of the hierarchy does not influence, in theory, how this
it's called
person
a dotted
reports.
line. They have a dotted line.
Okay. So you've been involved in that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, the point is that outside of that government agency, there's nobody to hold anybody accountable unless there's a lawsuit. And there's nobody to test it and to see what's going on. And so I think there is, and the only way to do it is to be self-appointed. These guys do this clearly. They're just doing it because they feel that's their responsibility and that's their mission. And more power to them. There's no official title of this. Nobody gets paid directly there's nobody as employed as that to get paid directly from anybody. There's nobody that pays you to do that except through YouTube or whatever platform you're on. Now, my other mind is that some of these guys are jerks, they're really bad. They're very short, and then they're trying to get an attention. They're trying to get trying to egg you on. They're trying to elicit a reaction and all of that. But I mean, but the truth is, you're also, just by simply doing it, showing up with your camera and videoing, you're also that right there is trying to elicit a reaction. But then they usually, and I have no problem with that at all, to just go and test it and see what happens.
It's a public place that everybody in the public is allowed.
Right. So the idea is, and I'm no attorney, clearly, but when you go into a public place, is my understanding that as long as it's publicly accessible during normal hours and you're going there during those hours, then it is free to video or do whatever you need to. Anything that's in view. And much like the cops, if anything's in view when they're stopping someone and they happen to see it in your car and they see marijuana or open beer can or whatever, they can take action. Now, obviously not in the same context, but the fact that if it's viewable, then it is fair game. And so, but he's also doing private businesses. Now, he's not going necessarily, I've watched this guy quite a bit. I've watched a lot of other auditors too around the country. And it's generally, they go onto publicly accessible, it's private property, but you have the law sets aside that median easement.
Technically an easement.
Right, the easement. And so you can't restrict people from being on that. In fact, a lot of times the city requires you to put in a sidewalk and maintain that sidewalk in a safe way. So that is, for all practical purposes, is publicly accessible, and you have a right to stand on that. And then video all you want, and that's the First Amendment, is that they're expressing their in recording and whatever. You don't have to be an official. There's no card carrying media thing going on here, so you don't have to prove anything. Yeah. And so what happens is that whether it's public or private, he goes into publicly accessible areas on public property or publicly leased property, and then he videos, and oftentimes he's greeted very politely, and they ask him what he's doing, and he generally responds politely. But the moment that there's any resistance, or some people are confused, they're not used to this. When you walk in, we have these wonderful public employees are trying to do their job. So I understand the frustration, but they also have to realize they are publicly funded, and there are certain rights that, as an individual, even if you don't like it, they have the right to do what they're doing. Apparently,
they have the right to come and watch you do your job.
Right, exactly.
If you're paid by the taxpayer,
right,
a person, and you're paid by the public, that the public has a right to come watch you do your job.
Observe
you do your job, as long as it's not sensitive information.
Yes,
and as long as it's accessible to everybody.
And you don't get in the way of doing their job. And so if you're going into it, because generally you walk in and there's officers, either a desk there or there's sometimes plexiglass windows and things like that. So here's some examples though of that I have seen happen. I've seen him do some good things, and I've seen him do some really stupid, jerky things. And he has, so for instance, I guess we can just jump to the recent thing with Judge Campbell. He's for Clay County judge. And
actually, I was at a meeting with him last night.
Right. Okay. So here, within the last couple of weeks, the kid publishes pretty quickly. So he went to Clay County and was wandering around in the offices, and he went into the property where you pay your property taxes and that kind of stuff. I don't know what else is there. I don't know if that's where you do the.
Yeah, that's where.
Yeah, is that the building? Okay.
County assessor. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So anyway, he was in there and actually had an encounter early on with the judge, and there didn't seem to be any big deal there. It's then when the kid went into the back where the court is. There's a hallway, and then inside of one of those offices to the left is the actual court, the commissioner's courtroom. But this particular day,
the commissioner's courtroom is on the right.
Is it on the right?
This is the judicial court. The judge
Okay.
holds court in.
Okay.
Actually holds court.
Right, but I mean, what I'm saying is, and again, I've never stood in there.
The hallway. If you're looking down that hallway from the perspective of where the guy was, to the right is the commissioner.
Okay, that's the court. What was to the left? Is that his?
The left
office?
is a court. There's his office right here, and past his office is a courtroom.
Okay,
and it is a actual courtroom.
Right. Well, the courtroom obviously is where, generally speaking, the actions occur, things that hold in the business of the county. But then, certain days there's juvenile court.
There's judicial court, juvenile and
judicial.
They have court. There's juvenile and adult judicial court.
Okay.
At different days.
Okay. So, but
a county judge. Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
A county judge is this basically like a CEO of a county, and a lot of what they have to do has business. But the word judge is in there for a reason. They are judges.
Right.
They do have a real courtroom.
Right.
They put the robe on, and they pass judgment. Okay, and they do that. I don't know how. It depends on how big your county is, how often you do it, but they do it at set times. And at that time, that county judge is like a magistrate. He is the county judge at that, or he is a judge, and he's in judgment of somebody, and it can be criminal.
Right.
Now, it's not going to be. He's not going to do the Scopes trial.
Right.
But I mean, it's one of those deals. But if it's misdemeanors, but they'll have juveniles and they'll have adults different days.
Right. This particular day was juvenile court, and the fact that kids are going in and out of these offices and through the hallway was the concern that the judge had, and that he was right, valid, absolutely valid, and so that he was designating that this whole hallway was the court. And I think that's where the kid was like, well, no, it's not. And I think to some extent, and it is nitpicking, but like I said, this is where I absolutely have two minds. I want to know what, again, just curious, what procedure legally, because I understand to a point of what's seems to be pretty clear about what they can and can't do and what have access to, these auditors. But then there's a gray area in my mind, because I don't know what that is. Where can the judge decide, okay, I'm going to even though on a day-to-day basis, it's probably individual offices, they can close the door. But if this door, this hallway doesn't have anything that says, hey, this is a restricted area, then if it does, then he can't go in there. If it's pre-designated, and then my understanding is they can't just waltz in there and go, hey, and video. But if there's no actual label on there, then and maybe it could be done temporarily. I don't know. I have a lot of questions.
Well,
but
they'll probably put signs up.
Well, they will now, I'm sure.
But the point is, de facto, okay, in the law, you have written law and you have de facto law, which means it's law or rules that we've all accepted as a society, that we've accepted, right? Okay, so in Clay County, because of the way that their courtroom is structured and everything, they have a building, a room to the right, basically, that is the commissioner's courtroom. Okay, and it doesn't look like a courtroom. It looks like an office room, right? But it has tables in front and stuff, like a little dais. And then they have a hallway, and then on the left they have the actual courtroom. Well, they have witnesses. You can't have all the witnesses and everybody sitting in the courtroom at the same time, because so you have to have witnesses and stuff like that from here, and you have to transport them from here to there in that hallway. And because they're juveniles, that hallway has been restricted to public access. If I showed up, they would ask me to move on.
Well, right.
And if you showed up, they'd ask you to move on. So where I think the guy's being a dick is he's taking something that he's taking something that is a de facto rule, it's a common practice.
Okay.
And he's trying to push it to the nth degree of, I don't see signs here and you can't call this that.
Right.
Well, if that's what we do and that's what we've done and it's not unreasonable, if it's unreasonable, it's a different story.
Sure.
But if the judge can't show up and you're walking down the street and he goes, okay, this is a courtroom, I'm going to try you right here. That's unreasonable. But if this is what we've done, this is the way we have it set up, and we have it set up because it protects the juveniles. Right. It's different when they're holding a adult court, you can walk up and down that hallway all you want. Right. But since it's juveniles have rights that adults do not, that are being charged with a crime or being adjudicated.
Right. Well, but on those days, then, if that's the case, here's what I have seen and observed. Just again, I'm not an expert in this world, but I think I have some reasonable things that I've observed and noticed that I have questions, but I think this is probably reasonable to expect that that you walk in. If somebody were to point out, hey, I'd like to go in here and observe and not be a jerk. And they go, well, no, you can't. Well, it doesn't say here. Okay, well, it is. We're designating it. It's this way. It's the way it is. Well, would you mind, checking into maybe putting a sign up and leaving, right? It's not going to happen. There's a lot of stuff does not happen until somebody pushes the button really hard and then brings it up in court or makes a big stink out of it and gets a lot of attention, okay? And so that's where I think sometimes that government officials, government workers, government anything, sometimes, as we all know, we've observed this, that they blow off the little people, right, the citizens, and, oh, you're just making it, you're just making a big deal out of nothing. Well, maybe so, but it's a little more than nothing. Maybe you need to consider whether it's a temporary thing for juvenile court versus a regular court. They have a sign, juvenile court in session. I don't know what it is, but again, I think he's a jerk. He's absolutely being a jerk. He doesn't have to be that way. And sometimes he's technically correct, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. But sometimes things don't happen until somebody's a jerk and somebody pushes the issue. I'm trying to.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you on the concept. I understand what you're saying, but there are some situations that if somebody says, hey, this is how we conduct the business here, and it's reasonable. It's not unreasonable. It's not like the judge says, get out of here because I told you to get out of here. He said numerous times, there's juveniles here.
Right.
That's the reason we do this.
Yep.
And that a reasonable person
Right.
would accept that, okay, there's juveniles.
Right.
They have juveniles have more rights than adults do in when they're being adjudicated. Therefore, this is what their procedure is. And we just need to follow it. So what are your thoughts on this, Steve? I know we kind of yacked a lot, but.
Okay, I've been quiet and taking in what you guys have said, and now I'm going to speak my piece.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did have a personal interaction with this young man.
Oh, okay.
And
I haven't seen yours. Yeah.
It's because it wasn't worthy.
Because you were so nice.
It's exactly. Right. He was trying to be, as you said, a jerk. He was trying to elicit a response from me. It happened at church. Oh. It happened on the sidewalk at First Baptist Church on a Sunday morning. Okay. And I had been made aware of him ahead of time, so I knew who he was. Had I not known, I probably wouldn't have been as easygoing. But I have a streak, like a lot of people do, and it really came forward in my personality quick, and I had to really work hard to keep that squelched. But my problem with him and people like him is, what is their real motivation?
Exactly, yeah.
What's the real motivation? It wasn't to find out what the truth about Christ was. It was to get me or someone else into a position of anger, of unreasonableness, so that he was right and that person was wrong. That is what I have a real problem with him and people like him, because they're not trying to find out what was really going on in court. He was trying to get a response so that he and his YouTube channel and his personal desire for celebrity would grow. That's where I am on all of this. He has an absolute right to be in a public space. He just does.
Yeah.
But what's his motivation?
Well, you have a right to think you have a right to your opinion. He has a right to do it. And we do have to defend that. Now, I think that there comes a point when, like in this, I think where he didn't have a right. At some point, he was told to leave. It's a de facto rule and all that. But like what you're talking about, he has a right to do this, and you have to respect that he has that right because we all want to live in America and we don't want our rights trampled on either. But by the same token, I totally agree. You have a right to your opinion about what he's doing, and you have a right to express that to him about what your opinion is about what he's doing.
Right. Yeah. So on this, though, I like to say that I spent 20 years in the Air Force to do my little part to protect his right to be an idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm calling him an idiot because he's such a jerk. And you're right. We don't truly know what his heart is, but his actions sure indicate that it's not about educating. Because I think if you really look at, and again, this is my view of what these guys are doing. I think for people who have a real true heart of education, that this could be done in such a way that he's going to win more hearts by doing and being nice and being a Steve Garner. If you did this, you would be like, hey, I'm here truly to educate, and I'm just here to test and see what we can do. Yeah. But no, he just does jerky things. He stood outside of Colonial, one of the videos I saw, and was standing there, and he was talking about something.
Colonial Baptist Church.
Yeah, Colonial Baptist,
church,
yes.
A large Baptist local church, if you're not.
He didn't get any, I didn't see anything really bad, but he did get a few negative reactions. That's why he showed it, and he didn't show yours. But he was being weird is what he was being. He's saying, well, I forget the name of this fictitious character that he says tells him what to do, Jason or something. I don't know. But he was just making up. It's like, dude, really? And the guys are trying to be great, thoughtful. And, hey, why don't you come on in and we'll learn, we got this and this going on at, I guess it was a Sunday evening maybe or a Wednesday evening. I don't know. But whatever it is, he's definitely a jerk at what he's doing, and I think he could do so much better. And just another thing that here's where I think people need to be prepared, and that's the reason I wanted to make this and talk about this, is that don't engage. If you don't think you can be pleasant with the guy, don't even go up to him. Don't get your phone. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Or walk away.
Right. But my suggestion is don't get your phone out and video him. Because he'll go, hey, you're practicing your First Amendment. All right. I mean, he'll celebrate that in a really sarcastic way.
It's performative. What he's doing is performative.
Yes.
Yep. And that's really and I would have a lot more respect if he had, like you said, the guy says, you know what, I want to educate the public.
Yeah, truly.
I want to educate the public on what happens here. And quite frankly, I go back to my statement earlier. If you are a county paid employee or a government paid employee. Yeah. And your job is not a sensitive job, and somebody is going to any place that the public can access. If I can walk in there and see it, then there's no reason you can't film it. Right. And so you have to be prepared for that. Right. But the other side of this is, and where this guy's taking a risk, is because he's going to run into the wrong person one time.
Oh yeah,
who's not going to care about his public rights, and they're going to kick his goddamn teeth in. And I'm just saying that's what's going to happen at some point with people like this. And I hope it's not a public official that does it.
Right.
But it will probably stop this if he gets it. I mean, there are times that consequences matter.
Right.
And unfortunately, in this society we have now, that people play on video games, and if you get killed, you just hit the restart, or something happens, you get
restart that.
People don't realize that there are consequences, and there are people in this world, and there are people in this country that are not going to put up with your crap, and they're not worried about going to jail, and they're not worried about their consequences. So people sometimes don't live in reality. This is some of the hatefulness that you see, the things that people say about other people with the vitriol and things like that. You wouldn't dare stand to somebody's face and say that to them. Yeah. Not because they may do anything. They're not going to do anything to you, but in the back of your mind, what if they go off? Yeah. What if they lose it?
And just to be clear, none of us here are absolutely are wanting anybody to do that. We're not suggesting you to take the guy down or anything. Please don't, actually. Well, but he is.
Understand you have consequences if you
right.
Do.
And
I'm not going to say please don't, but understand there's consequences. No, because there's consequences to every action.
No, I know.
I do think sometimes society. One thing that holds our society together is that there are consequences.
Yeah.
And we need to have consequences. We need to hold each other accountable. Sure. And so if somebody gets way out of line, then they're going to have to accept those consequences as if the person who's going to administer those consequences, they have to accept those consequences.
So
I wouldn't do anything to the guy because he's not worth it.
Yeah, right. It's just, there's too much.
But I have too much to lose. But when I was 24 years old,
you might have.
When I was 19 years old, I had nothing to lose.
But you might have gotten away with it too. So, but now you
back then, yeah.
Right. But now it'll be on video, you know.
And so you have to be careful. You don't want to run into those people who don't feel like they have a whole lot to lose.
Right.
They're going to spend a night in jail is not going to do anything, and they're going to make sure that if they're going to spend a night in jail, they're going to make damn sure it's worth it.
Yeah. And if I may suggest that you don't be like this one couple that I saw on one of his videos. That he went into the license office in the Wichita County Annex, you know, where you get your driver, or not your driver's license, but your tags. And this one man, a part of a couple, just he's just irritated, and he walked off. And I think had there been no video. And maybe even if he had and he was in public or not in public area, he might have taken this guy out. But he didn't. He, walked away and made a few comments. But it was his spouse, his wife or his girlfriend or whatever. Oh, my gosh. She got up, started videoing him, tit for tat. And then she proceeded to say things like this. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but the actual points are made. I hope you die. I hope you die in an auto accident. I hope you get cancer.
That's her right.
Right. No, absolutely. But it just made her look. It's now what he walked in was about him is now suddenly about her.
She has to face those consequences.
Exactly. And I'm just suggesting that that's probably not a good way. And again, depending on what your goal is, but be prepared. That's the whole point. Jeez, oh no. I just spilled. I got
spilled a $37 coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, anyway,
but
so
be
all of that,
prepared,
be prepared and
but also
just
what
don't be a
need to
jerk.
understand, and this is another thing that I've said for a long time. Okay, there's a video where he gets really nasty with a police officer, and really for no reason. Yeah. Okay, I've always been very big on holding cops accountable. I've said for many years, if I think a police officer violates a crime while on duty, it ought to be triple punishment. Because you have a gun, you have a badge, and you have the power of the government behind you. So it's worse. It's worse for a police officer to commit a crime than it is a normal citizen, in my opinion, while they're in the course of their duty. That being said, I have a huge amount of respect for 99% of the cops because 99% of them are great people.
Yeah.
There's a percent,
Sure.
or maybe there's 98%. There's a couple percent that are real assholes. And they cause problems. But my point behind all this is this kid follows his cop out. Cop's walking away, going to his truck. Kid walks out. I go back to my video game analogy. Folks, this is real life. This is not a video game. And that person, number one, has had hand-to-hand combat training. You may be able to whip them and you may not, but you don't know. They have a gun.
Yeah.
They have other means to subdue you, okay? What if that person just loses their minds or turns around and puts one in your head? Yeah, they're going to go to prison, but you're dead. It doesn't help you. So just need to be careful when you confront people, when you confront people that have guns, that are walking around with guns, that you need to be careful on your confrontation and the way you want to go, because chances are nothing's going to happen.
Right.
But when it happens, it's usually pretty bad.
Well,
just understand there's consequences.
And I think there's one other piece of information that might be behind some of this. This kid's, and I'm going to call him a kid. He's 17 as far as I know, 16, 17. But basically his dad apparently, and they've even said he's a former police officer, and we've done a little light research, apparently was in Iowa Park. And this guy was not necessarily, but based on some of the reports that we've had, not an upstanding police officer during the period. I don't know what that means, but the point is that his dad is really behind this as well. He is videoing in many cases. He's been on site with him in various places, and so so he's being totally encouraged by his dad. So his dad is his role model in some ways, which may or may not have been a good thing. So.
I like your grin, Steve.
You got something to say here?
I'm trying to just take as much of it in as I can.
He's letting Jesus.
So
take the
yeah.
wheel.
So anyway, but here's my point of all of this. Whether and again, he's got a following. That's a reality, and there's people that have posted on that are totally against the cops, totally against all this stuff, and that's fine, whatever. But my suggestion is, if you see this kid, just be prepared. Just I'm just saying, be nice to him, even if he's a jerk, and just realize he does have some rights. And the calling the cops now has turned out to be nothing other than education on the people who are calling, even on the private property. And just be aware. Just be aware of this person in Wichita Falls and the surrounding in Clay County. He's going around and checking. He's gone to Iowa Park. I don't know if I've seen anything in Burke yet, but I believe he's gone to Iowa Park. He's Archer County. I don't know. He's going to be around, and he's unfortunately not going to go anywhere.
It's performative. Once again, he's trying
absolutely
to get clicks. He's trying to get his 2.5 minutes of fame.
Yeah. Well,
what it boils down to.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
right.
that.
Well, let's put the Microsoft thing off till next week. We're going along here. So
So
cool.
Go
ahead and wrap it up.
All right. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. But anyway, so we appreciate y'all being here with us, and
thank you very much for coming
thanks for coming in
with your insights.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
And he's like,
It was a pleasure to be here. It always is.
Yeah.
But all right, join us next Friday morning, 7:30 a.m. for more insights and news and things. And I guess, we'll be here. We're right. We're going to be here.
We'll be here the day after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Not
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
that's right.
So we want to tell you
happy Thanksgiving. Yes. So
because we're going to be on Friday, which is Black Friday or day after Boxing, or not Boxing Day, day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So like our friend and radio partner Mike always says at the end of the show is we're going to see you down the road.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you?